Now, would you like to hear my side, or would you rather continue shouting? If the latter, please let me know so I can sit down and get comfortable. They're wanted on a variety of charges by the Psi Corps.
Also known as fascists are us.
Granted.
A non-innocent Tory royal court. It is a curiously satisfying image, Dylan.
Yes, it is.
All right, Dylan, I accept. If only to see their faces. Thank you. This is the greatest challenge of my life. Why I'm thanking you for that, I don't know, but there it is.
Oh, no. Lockley to security.
Security here.
I said, let me the hell out of here!
You can release Mr. Garibaldi now.
About time.
Bester and Psychor go after renegade telepaths.
Now the fun really starts.
Watch an all-new Babylon 5 next Wednesday at 10 on TNT.
You have transmissions holding.
Patch incoming signal. Full audio and video decode.
Purple files accessed.
What you are about to see has never been shown to anyone outside the Great Council.
Hello, everyone out there in podcast land. Welcome to Gray 17, a Babylon 5 podcast, the number 8 top TV review podcast in the country of Hungary. We are a group of newbies watching Babylon 5 for the very first time. And I'm not joking, by the way. We are number 8 in Hungary.
Hell yeah.
And
so we probably shouldn't say anything about Viktor Orban. Okay.
Awkward.
And we lost them.
Now we're number 10, just because of Kevin.
I don't know who the fuck that is, so we're good.
Well, you're not hungry, so it's fine. Or Hungary. Okay. And we're a bunch of first ones watching Babylon 5 for the umpteenth time. And we are here today to talk about season 5. The episode is Strange Relations. I'm Scott, and with me is
Justin.
Crickets.
Emily.
I'm not editing anything this week. It's all going live.
Moving on.
Nicole.
Mike.
Kevin.
And Jessi.
And before we get started, a reminder to click all the links down below. We have our social medias active. We are on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, as well as we do have our Discord channel, which you can join by joining our Patreon account at any level. And a thank you to our Great Council members, those on Patreon who donate the most every single month, and you are listed down below as a producer, so check them out as well. And please be sure to like, subscribe, follow, click all the buttons except for the down arrow. Don't click that one. And if you can, please leave a review for us. That's what really does help the channel grow. And we did get a couple more 5-star reviews in from Apple. We got one from I'm Kathy. No, I'm not Kathy, but I am Kathy is who posted.
Hi, Kathy.
It's I'm Kathy. And she is from the United Kingdom. Love the show, it starts. I have really enjoyed the mix of opinions and hearing the newbies' reactions to the show. Great to hear the points of view change as the show went on. I also appreciate the good sound quality, as I'm usually on noisy public transport when listening. That's the first time I've ever been told that the sound quality is good, by the way. I've been heard the other thing. But thank you, I'm Kathy. Maybe you have to be on a subway to appreciate us. I don't know. Or I'm sorry, what is it?
It's the tube. The tube.
Be on the tube. Yes. So
Are there fumes down there?
That could be it. Is I'm Kathy high?
Listen, I'm Kathy knows what's good, and she has good taste, so I'm going to go with her on that.
Can we not assume that Kathy is a woman?
I was just thinking that, actually. We are definitely genderizing I'm Kathy
I'm sorry, I'm Kathy.
Kathy's my mom's name also, so I mean, I would assume that it's a woman, but...
And to all those who just got pissed off that I said genderized, go somewhere else. Have a nice day.
I'm sure they have by now.
They probably, judging by our YouTube numbers, they've already left. Yes, you're right. But hey, we're still number 8 in Hungary. Okay, let's go ahead. And first off, we have a new section that has been the talk of the town for a few episodes now. So Jessi, what is the conspiracy of the week?
Okay. Jeffrey Epstein did not hang himself.
Oh shit, I heard that on Fox.
Let's see. The CIA killed John Lennon.
Oh my God.
They were aiming for Yoko and just missed.
The CIA also had a project that attempted to turn ordinary cats into high-tech spies using brain chip implants called Acoustic Kitty.
I actually think that one's real, but anyway.
My cats definitely look at me like they're going to eat me, so I'm going to go with that one.
55 people have reported that they have seen the Mothman in Chicago. You're all welcome.
Nicole's one of them.
And the U.S. government is abducting children and sending them to Martian slave colonies.
What the fuck
Hold
is
on.
wrong with these people?
Okay, I'm gonna jump in here and say I don't want to weigh in on Mothman necessarily, but wherever you're listening to us right now, please send us and let us know about your local cryptids and whether or not you believe in them. I'd like to
this.
hear those
Yes,
stories.
please.
We can make this into a bonus episode. Let's talk cryptids.
If not our follow-up podcast, yeah.
Yes.
Let's do it.
Talking cryptids with Grace 17, episode 5 million. Here we go. Okay, on that note, let's go ahead and dive into Strange Relations. And Justin, you have a synopsis for us.
I do today. In this week's episode, we learned that Lockley was actually Sheridan's starter wife, and it sounds like it lasted about as long as a Britney Spears marriage. Bester slithers out from whatever rock he was hiding under and tries to arrest the telepath refugees on the station. Meanwhile, as Londo prepares to return to Centauri Prime to assume his duties, Londo and G'Kar decide he needs a bodyguard, placing G'Kar in that role, hopefully giving us the buddy comedy we have been hoping for. Finally, we learn telepaths can't sing worth a shit.
Justin, I want to congratulate you. That synopsis was longer than the entire section of the Lurker's Guide for this episode. Good job, buddy.
Nice.
The Lurker's Guide definitely sat out season 5. I found this out the hard way. Okay, let's go ahead and go to our newbies and get their first impressions. And let's go to Jessi first.
I enjoyed it. There were a couple things that I felt like I was right about, even though you say I'm not. They definitely slept together, regardless of whether they were only married 3 months or not. They were sleeping together at one point. She said that we fell madly in love, which means they, whatever you want to fill in that word
Off.
there. I know.
Shag.
What's Ryan always say? They fucked. And then let's see, what else did I enjoy? Oh, I enjoyed the Lita bit where she left Psychor, because I actually had the thought when I saw her in the Psychor uniform the first time, was like, I really hate that she's in Psychor. I really fucking hate it. So watching her take off the pin made my cold dead heart a little bit warmer. So I enjoyed it.
We had talked about the gloves, by the way, and it was off camera, but you could tell she was pulling the gloves off too. Nicole, first impressions.
Boy, this was quite the episode. A lot of stuff went down on this one. We had assassination attempts. We had long lost marriages. We had people going to the brig. We had creepy cult telepath songs. We had Lita joining a cult. All sorts of shit went down in this episode. I think one of my favorite parts, though, was G'Kar realizing that he would have to go to all the Centauri royal courts and seeing all their faces, like him laughing. And that was one of my favorite parts of the whole episode. It was a minor part, but it was great. I am excited for Franklin to go on his adventure, but I have a bad feeling that something bad is going to happen to him. And I don't know why, but I don't like it. I also still don't really know about Byron, if you can trust him. There's something Koreshi about him, and I just don't like it. It just bothers me. So overall, it was a good episode. There was some parts that made me a little uncomfortable. There was a lot of shit that went down and a lot of stuff, again, to move the story forward. So good episode overall.
We've moved on from Shady to Koreshi, and I like that a lot.
Yeah, he is, though. Oh, and also Bester is a smarmy fucker. He really made me mad in this episode, but we'll get into that later.
Yes, we will. Emily, first impressions.
It wasn't terrible. It was a Bester episode, so that was a nice change. We were right about Lockley and Sheridan seeing each other's nudie booties, so
were you?
There's that.
Were you?
We
really?
were. Yes.
Not one of you was right.
We were all right.
Nicole was like, maybe they shagged, maybe they didn't. Jessi's like, they slept together. Emily's like, they slept together and maybe they were married after the first wife went missing. So none of you were right.
How am I wrong? But say how I'm wrong, because they slept together.
None of you said that they were married.
They've seen each other.
Emily did, but not in the right order.
Just because you have sex doesn't mean you have to be married.
For real.
No, and I absolutely did not guess
Catholics
that they had
disagree.
been married. You're right, I missed that part, but I knew that they fucked, because there is no way that she would be so pissed off about anything else than them. Like, listen, she was way less pissed off about that than I would have been.
You know, that's a good theory, though. I mean, to the point of you don't have to be married to fuck, and maybe you don't have to fuck to be married. So maybe that explains why Sheridan's a little iffy with the whole sex thing.
Maybe that's why they got divorced. It ruined the magic. Okay, they did it once. It was terrible. It ruined the magic. They got divorced.
There was no woohoo for Lockley.
According to the Catholic religion, if you don't have sex, you're not actually married. So
according to the Catholic religion, never mind. I'm gonna be
anyway.
Hold on.
Moving on.
So a minute ago, Jessi just said that Jessi, would be a lot angrier than Delenn was. Are we just gonna let that go? Like, isn't that the most obvious statement of the entire podcast? Or
it is true.
Jessi's angry. She's an angry bitch. Sorry.
Delenn's reaction at the end, how she was angry, I knew it had to be more than that they just slept together, because people have sex all the time, whatever. I don't give a shit who my man slept with before me, you know, but like not telling me you had I feel like a mental, like an intimate relationship is more meaningful than like you can bang anybody and not feel anything. Her reaction led me to believe that there was more to the story than that.
Tell me more, Nicole, about your experiences of banging and not feeling.
We've all done it, Scott. Don't act like you're a prude.
Oh, I'm sorry. Just one more thing. And yes, you're right. You can have sex and not have feelings, but you do not hire that chick as your freaking commander. Like, that's what I would be mad about. You guys have seen each other naked. I have a problem with this. Like, are you going to see each other naked again? Let's not make that happen, because I'm going to lose my shit and everybody's going to get in some weird situations. So moving on.
So I have to agree with Nicole that there is something about Byron that's very cultish and unsettling. And I'm not sure we can trust him. And I'm worried about Lita, because she has spent so much of her life being manipulated and treated like shit. She might not realize that he may be treating her like shit when it's covered with a thin layer of night.
Justin, first impressions.
I just don't know how to follow that shit up. Because we didn't even get through first impressions and hands started fucking shooting up and stuff like that. So it's going to be one of these nights, folks. Buckle up, Buttercup.
This is what happens when Blake's not around. It just all goes to shit.
Yeah. Well, it all goes to shit when Blake's here, too, and we just see him, like, holding his head in the camera. But
he just looks like he wants to die. It's fine.
Yeah. The nice thing about today is there's not going to be any judgment. So there we go. Anyway, I actually was quite fond of this episode as well. I thought Byron, a.k.a. Magneto, you know, putting together his little organization and wanting to find a place for all of his telepaths, aka mutants, to live within their colony, aka Geonosis. And then he actually recruited Lita, aka Rogue, into his little outfit. And
somebody definitely watched 97.
It's turning into an X-Men story here, folks. It's not just X-Men 97. This has been touched through a lot of the comic books, but we'll get there. We're all going to have thoughts about the whole should you hire an X to run your space station. But I actually got a lot of enjoyment with the Londo, G'Kar, Delenn storyline about kind of trying to set up G'Kar. At least we know how G'Kar ends up on Centauri Prime, as we saw in War Without End. Yeah, I 100% agree. G'Kar's giddiness at trying to make the rest of the Centauri court uncomfortable is definitely going to be something I hope we get to see at least a little bit of. And then, hang on, I've have one last thing to say, and I have to put on protective gear before I say
He's brought a show and tell item. Here we go. Oh, shit.
So
he's got the hockey mask on. Goalie, by the way.
Lockley's actually warming up to me.
There you go!
And I'm saying that because I know Jessi's probably going to try and throw something to hit me in the face. So that's why I had to put on my protective gear to protect myself.
She's just going to go for the junk instead.
Right.
He's got a cup on. It's okay.
How would you know?
If I was a guy and I was around Jessi, I'd always wear a cup. I'm just saying.
Blake learned this the hard way.
Feisty, and she's actually turning out to be kind of funny, in my opinion.
Jessi or Lockley?
Me. It's me. Hi.
You're the problem. Justin, don't talk about this now because Kevin's going to kill me if I derail this anymore. But when we talk about the telepaths, I'd love to hear your comments because you just called Byron Magneto. But we've called Bester Magneto too, and now they're both in the same episode. So we got a little Days of Future Past going on here. What are we going to do about that? Think about that.
Actually, I have opinions on that. We'll get to that there.
I know you do, but let's wait. Let's go ahead and move into first impressions from our first ones who have watched the entire show. Blake is out this week, so let's go to Mike.
Oh, what? I was reading about Colorado slide whales.
Or are you prepping the next podcast?
Yeah. It was a good episode. It's kind of a mixed bag for me. It's got a lot of good character moments. I actually also really enjoyed Lockley in this episode, as well as the interactions with, as always, with Londo and G'Kar. Some of the other plot, Bester being in it is great, but the stuff with Byron and Lita, I kind of just don't even care about. To be perfectly honest, I find it kind of cringy and weird. So, all in all, I'll give it a solid 5 out of 10. Not a 5 out of 5, just to clarify. Not on the Michelin star system.
No.
That's star system.
Star system. Ha, Kevin.
I like this one too, and this is one of those episodes that I like Lockley the most in. She definitely brings something to the table as far as standing up to Garibaldi, which I'm not saying I don't like Garibaldi, but I like that someone just does not take his crap as much as she can go toe to toe with him. And I thought the scene with him and her and Bester was really good, along with the Londo and G'Kar stuff. And yes, I definitely have thoughts on Delen's reaction and the whole thing, so we can get into that too. But yeah, good episode, lots of good moments.
Yeah, this is episode 6 for me, and I am a broken record now, but I came into this dogging the shit out of season 5, but this was another fun episode for me. We get a lot of G'Kar and Londo, which I enjoy. We get some character development for a lot of folks. We get Lockley in probably the most meaty episode she's had so far, and I'm even not terribly upset about the telepath stuff, so looking forward to talking about it. Let's go ahead and start chatting, and since we've already gone down the Lockley, Sheridan, Delen, Garibaldi train, let's continue down that path and talk about that stuff. Kevin.
I got to disagree with Jessi, because while I think there's got to be something to the fact that he probably could have found somebody that he knew from working with them in the past that he wasn't married to, I think this puts him in a unique situation where, other than not telling his wife, which I am not defending, he knows her very well and knows, just like they said in the episode, that she's not going to do the wrong thing and that she doesn't come from a bad place as far as, how she sees things. Other than not telling his wife, I don't mind this storyline, and I think it makes it kind of interesting, but I just don't think you can see the two of them interact and think, yeah, they could get hot for each other. Like, the two of them just seem like oil and water to me. I just do not see in their later lives how they could be compatible. So I'm not seeing a problem with this myself.
It's not the fact that they've had sex, because it is what it is. Like Nicole said, you're fine. Like, there's lots of people in this world and it's okay. Like, I do not expect you to be a virgin, i.e. whatever, before we got together. But I do expect the common decency for you to tell me that you are going to hire the person who you've seen naked for the commander spot before she lets me know. That's all I'm saying. That's it. Like, it's not that they had sex. Love it. Great. Sheridan's had sex with 3 people at this point. That's
at least 3 times. Yeah. Yes.
That
may be it.
And I think it shows that Delen is really, an enlightened person. She's mad about it at first, but then she thinks about it. She's like, yeah, okay, I'm fine with it. We're in love. They're not. It's fine.
She's better people than I am, because I'm going to tell you right now, to burn that whole ship down. Moving on.
Believe it or not, I really don't have a problem with the whole dynamic either. I really liked the conversation that she had with Garibaldi. She basically was like, all right, let's hash this shit out now. What is your problem with me? And they had their talk and they were able to kind of like discuss, and she told him everything that he wanted to know. Hearing her talk about her and Sheridan's past, where she was saying they both butted heads because they both wanted to be in charge all the time, and that just doesn't work. And I could totally see it with their interactions and the way that they are. Clearly, as a couple, you can't have that. It's give and take, take turns. But if one person, it's like, I feel like in every relationship, there's always that type A person and there's the other person who's less type A, but more, and you got to compromise, right? It seems like they were both very type A, take charge, in charge, not willing to back down or compromise. So I don't foresee any issues going forward. I agree with Jessi that he should have told Delen before bringing her on the station, because I thought that was kind of shitty. But I gotta agree with Justin. She kind of grew on me this episode too. She's very fair and she's very level-headed about things, but she still errs on the right side of things. Delen is so enlightened and so what a great being Delen is, because she really is like light. Like, she's so, what's the word I'm looking for? and not advanced, but like evolved, I guess. She just doesn't let the small stuff bother her.
Justin.
You're 100% correct in the fact that Sheridan should have told Delenn their history. Yeah, I guess I would be kind of salty too about after this person arrived and be like, oh, hey, yeah, by the way, I used to be married to this person, and it didn't work out. And we had a Vegas romance and that was it. But I still would have liked to have been G'Kar's eyeball in the room when Delenn was giving it to Sheridan. And I would have loved to have heard that discussion of when Sheridan actually had to break down and tell her.
And the reference of the day goes to Justin for the G'Kar eyeball in the room. I like that a lot.
Thank you. It was an apostrophe. Lightning struck me brain. In terms of Lockley, I like the fact that she's not Ivanova. I like the fact that she has her own character. She has her own way of doing things. She even sat down and admitted she was on the wrong side of the Earth Civil War. We finally found that out. And the fact that in spite of all of that, she's very justified in saying, look, if I believed everything that they said about Sheridan, I would have shot him as a traitor. It's another thing about the power of rumor and just how, first impressions can often be incorrect. That being said, I totally pick up a lot of sexual tension between Garibaldi and Lockley.
Oh, yeah.
And I think they're going to end up boshing. No, not boshing. Boffing. They're going to end up boffing, I think, before
It'll
the end
be
of the series.
angry sex.
That's number one prediction for the night is Garibaldi and Lockley are going to, as they say, do the dance with no pants.
Garibaldi needs some sexual
Yes,
healing.
he does.
He's going to show Lockley his number one, number two favorite things. It's would I personally hire an ex to come and run my station? It depends on the situation. Now, Lockley has a good point in being.
Depends on the
I was going to say,
Depends on the yes. Yeah. Depends on the ex.
Justin,
Depends
I'm just going to put
ex.
it out there that if you hire your ex, I'm done.
Shots fired.
Oh no! If I hire my starter marriage, please put me into a straitjacket and ship me off to the loony bin. The point I was getting to with all that is I liked how Lockley framed it in terms of, yes, they had their past issues, but over time, they implicitly trust one another.
Jessi.
I think Delenn is just very confident. Like, she's just very secure and very confident in her relationship with him. So she's like, it's cool. I'm not worried about it. You've seen him naked. You're not going to see him naked again. I'll kill everybody involved. It's fine. But I do like, oh God, this pains me. I do like her. I'm starting to, right. Yeah, I know. It didn't take me long. I'm fickle. It's fine. She's definitely a take no fucking bullshit person. And I like it. Like, listen, she gets her shit done. She does it anyway necessary. She was the part where she was like, maybe I should send that picture that's on your such and such and da da da. And he's like, nope, say no more. We'll get it done. She's definitely a no bullshit person. So I am a big fan. I also, to Justin's point, don't know a single ex, hey fuckers, that I would trust. So not well.
To all those exes hate listening.
There's one because nobody's listening. This whatever. I don't even think they can read, let alone listen to a podcast.
Does that say something about them or you?
Terrible taste in men is the first issue. Yeah, no,
Just
moving
saying.
on. But no, there's probably like maybe one ex that I would maybe hire, and you guys all know him, so we're moving on.
He's employed gainfully.
Extremely well too, by the way.
Yeah,
he's doing okay.
I know exactly who you're talking about. For me on Lockley, and I think I said this on Wonder Beyond the Rams, we have to go back and check. There are days where I like Lockley more than I like Ivanova. Don't get me wrong. I think Ivanova was a great character. I think she was done great, but I like that Lockley takes charge a lot more. Ivanova was learning how to take charge, and then I think once she became her own commander / captain, she probably did take charge, but we didn't get to see that. She was always a secondary leader to either Sinclair or to Sheridan, where Lockley doesn't have to put up with that shit at all. And I love it. And I love that she puts Garibaldi in the brig. Probably should have happened 4 seasons ago, but she finally fucking did it.
Yep.
Forgot about him in there and left him in there.
Not only that, but I think Tracy Scoggins just does a great job with the character. Look at where she's coming in as an actor as well too. But you've been seeing somebody who's been on the show since almost day one, and they leave for whatever reasons. We've debated that enough. And you got to come in there and take over. And a lot of times when that happens on TV, it does not go well. But she has made that character her own. and she's running with it. And I also definitely want to see how the shotgun wedding took place between Sheridan and Lockley, because I have no doubt that Lockley was the one dragging his ass to Vegas,
Oh, yeah.
not the other.
She wore the pants.
She's in
Yeah.
charge. Absolutely, 100%. Anything else on the Lockley? We haven't even talked about Garibaldi much, but anything else on the Lockley side of things?
I liked how she sat him down and she's like, listen, because she's talked about how she can trust him, and so she's not pussyfooting around that. She's like, yep, no, I can definitely trust him, and this is what's going on. And I like how she just reasoned with him, because if she hadn't reasoned with him, he was gonna find out. First of all, the cheesy ass like hiding around the corner thing, that was like a little like, come on, bro. But he definitely was going to keep digging unless she told him, and she just said, listen, I'm tired of your shit. Get it done. This is what's going on.
We did get an answer to another question that you all asked last episode was, did Garibaldi access the file anyway? He did.
Oh, he sure did.
He absolutely did.
So it wasn't in her file? That seems a little strange to me.
I don't know. I mean, are your marriages in your permanent record at work, especially ex-marriages?
Well, in a military file, I would think they would be.
Redactions are a powerful thing, Kevin.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, if they didn't get on TRICARE together, I'm guessing there's no paperwork.
Okay, fair enough.
Nicole?
So with Garibaldi on this episode specifically, he is like a dog with looking for a bone, right? He is not going to stop until he gets what he wants. So she basically knew that and met him where he was and had the discussion with him. And I like that too, because she even said to Sheridan that like she likes Garibaldi and knows that he's trustworthy and like wants to have a relationship with him. So she's probably was like, letting him do his thing and get it out of his system. And then she had enough. And she was like, look, again, that just kind of says that she is one of those people who's very take charge. I'm in charge and I'm going to get this shit done, because she's like, I'm sick of this shit. Let's have it out. She tells him everything and she trusts him with this information and this knowledge and asks him to keep it private. She didn't have to tell him. She could have let him keep digging or whatever, but she took it upon herself to have this discussion with him. And I think he probably maybe appreciated that or maybe respected her for that. I think now going forward, they'll definitely have a better dynamic with each other. They'll probably still butt heads because they're both very tenacious and they're very strong-willed and they're very, I'm going to do what I'm going to do. But I think now this maybe, I guess this would be a prediction, could be the beginning of a friendship with them. I didn't get the whole they're going to smash thing that Justin was shipping, because it's funny, I'm usually the shipper, not Justin or anyone else. It's always me. But I don't know, maybe. Now I'm going to have to watch it more closely. I do, however, wish that she would have let her just fucking rip Buster's head off. I'm just saying. She should have just let him have at him. But she flat out said, do it out of my vision where I can't see it and I don't know what's happening. So she basically was, if you can get your hands on him and I don't see it, I don't give a shit what you do. So I think he probably respected that about her as well.
But then she locked his ass in the brig.
But yeah, exactly. Because she didn't want it happening on her turf.
Because she knew he would do exactly that.
Yeah.
Justin.
In terms of Garibaldi, people talking about the around the corner kind of peeking stuff, that's his fucking job. His whole job is to be a sleazy spy. He is the intelligence gatherer for the Alliance. So he's just doing his job. I don't have any problem with anything he's doing. The entire show, he's the guy who finds shit out. And he's in the perfect role for that. So I completely have nothing against what Garibaldi's doing at all. Another reason why I'm liking Lockley is she is finding every avenue to do the right thing without violating her orders. Sadly, honestly, we're only going to get one season with her, so I really wish we could have more time to kind of see her character grow, but I'm liking what I see so far.
Kevin.
I think this is a really good episode for Jerry Doyle. I thought his acting in the scene with Lockley in the brig was really good, along with the scene with Buster. He wasn't in it a ton, but the scenes he was in, he really made an impact on the episode for me. As far as the big reveal, I saw where Tracy Scoggins was quoted as saying that she checked the Usenets to see if anyone had predicted rightfully what happened, and she says she couldn't find a single person that correctly was able to predict that. So she thought it was really cool what JMS wrote here, because it was really not something that was foreseeable by too many people.
Nicole.
One thing I really enjoyed too, with Lockley and is it Corwall? What's his name? Corwin at the end when they were talking, and she was like, you can only figure one thing out at a time, right? So like when she gave the example of you're on a 7th floor building, it's on fire, you either jump out the window or you die. You jump out the window, then you have 2 seconds to figure it out, like the next step. So like she was like, I feel like I did what I could, and you can only solve like one thing at a time, and I really liked that whole discussion and that whole like dynamic. And I thought that was really interesting and a hell of a way to think about stuff, is because like if you're a fixer or you're someone like me who wants to fix everything all at once and has a long-term plan and all this, that's not real life, right? So it was actually pretty good life advice, like fix one thing at a time. That's all you can do.
I do like that. And I tend to use that in my work leadership is there's 15 different fires, put out one at a time and then burn everyone in the other one while you're at it. It all works out better that way. Justin.
So I have a production question.
Yes.
So is the reason why we didn't really see a whole lot of Lockley the first few episodes were those episodes written because we kind of ran into like were some of those episodes written for Claudia, and then kind of Tracy had to step in and kind of fulfill that part, because we saw it early on in the series where I think somebody had said some of those early episodes were written for the actress who played Takashima.
Yeah.
And then Claudia just had to kind of step in, and that's why she was kind of seemed really off and uncomfortable at first. And I was wondering if that was kind of the same situation.
I don't feel this is a spoiler, but I'm sure I'll get yelled at on the comments section, but whatever. There is stuff that was written for Ivanova you're watching. And this, I don't know if this has ever been confirmed by JMS, but most fans of the show for the past 30 years have assumed this. Most of what you're seeing that was written for Ivanova was actually being played out by Lita. That Ivanova
really
was going to be in the telepath story. And I won't say what the telepath story is, where it's going in. Like
sure.
That.
Okay.
But from most fan understanding, and again, I've never seen JMS quoted by this, but it's in the ether. Everyone just assumes this. The Lita storyline was going to be the Ivanova storyline. So I don't know about
she
the
was a
Lockley
latent
stuff.
telepath, and okay.
And that's
okay.
that's kind of a part of her life that, aside from Talia, we didn't really deal with.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know if the Lockley stuff, like you're saying, it quite possibly could be. It also could be a scheduling thing where, Tracy jumped in very quickly between the seasons and maybe had to get rid of some other work. I don't know, but it's a good idea. It's a good thought.
Scheduling was what I was assuming, but it could be either one, both, who knows.
The other thing, and I think I've mentioned this to you guys, I think I have, is not only was season 5 rushed, and actually, Kevin, I think you mentioned this too. Season 5 was rushed. Not only that, but a lot of JMS's notes for season 5 were literally thrown away by a hotel maid. So he had to redo a lot of this stuff. So he's scrambling to make movies for TNT, write season 5, and sooner or later in this timeline, I don't know if it's yet, but it's probably at this point, yes, he's starting pre-production and script writing for Crusade, the spinoff series. So there's a lot going on right now. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if he is trying to triage as he goes. Nicole.
Did anyone else laugh when Lockley and Sheridan were arguing and he called Psychor fascist are us?
They were wearing the jack boots in this episode. They were definitely laid on thick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed the boots were very distinct.
Yes.
And obviously making a point.
Yes, the bloodhounds, as they called them. The one last thing I want to say about Lockley before we move off this, and I'll bow up my love fest for Lockley real quick, is obviously the title of the episode, Strange Relations. I love that we get Lockley's relationships with 3 main characters, quote unquote, throughout this. We've already talked about all 3. But what I love about it is she plays every one of them differently, but she plays it to be in power in each one of those. With Sheridan, she basically stands up to him and basically says, you trust me, I trust you. We're not going to screw around on this. And here's what we're going to do. With Garibaldi, she just locks his ass up. After telling him the truth, she locked him up. And with Bester, she played nice. But in every one of those, she's being strategic with the relationships and making sure that she is in a place where she can, at least to her point, find solutions as she goes. She's very smart when it comes to being a leader and being somebody who works with people. And I love seeing that character play. So let's go ahead and move on to the telepaths. Emily, you've been quiet for a while. Tell us about your thoughts on Byron.
I don't trust Byron, and it something about him feels very manipulative. And it's not the telepath part, although that could probably aid any manipulation ploy he has going on. But there's something about that overly calm, nice facade that's just, it's really unsettling. And then when Lita was talking about sleeping and he's like, oh, I had like that one great night's sleep that'll last me forever. And I was just like, what the fuck is this? Like, this is weird. What are you saying? Shut up, dude. You're annoying. I worry about Lita because it seems like she's catching feelings for him, and I don't think that'll go well for her.
I do have a question for the newbies because a couple of you mentioned the term cult. I'm asking you to rewind your brain a little bit. How much were you thinking cult up until the last 5-10 minutes of the episode versus how much were you thinking that after Zach said that Byron's a martyr and we had the creepy song? I'm curious, was that the change or were you already thinking culty?
No, it was already starting before any of that. Just
well, you have trust issues. You don't like anybody.
Well, yeah, so I might be good at spotting some of this shit because I don't trust people. So I'm less likely to get bamboozled, all right? My BAMs are not getting boozled.
Take that as you will. Nicole, Justin, Jessi, go ahead.
So I have been feeling that since like the second episode where we saw him, where he got like aggressive that one episode and his like demeanor changed. I started kind of feeling it then. You know, I always thought it was kind of weird, like that they don't talk and he speaks for everyone. It's very information control-y. I don't even know if I want to admit this, but I like to watch documentaries about cults and stuff because it's fascinating to me. So some of the behaviors and the way he is, I kind of was picking up on before this, but then when Zach said he was a martyr and then when they were singing the song with the candles at the end, that just kind of like put the nail in the coffin for me.
Jessi?
Yeah, no, the song definitely got me. I don't know if I felt like it was a cult before this. I felt like they were, I don't know, maybe I'm just not observant enough. I just felt like they were just a group of travelers. And then when I started to hear that, Lita seems like she's like starry-eyed and fucking puppy dog eyes and weird shit. So I don't know if I felt like that before this episode, but I definitely did after the last part.
Justin?
I'm kind of with Jessi. I didn't pick up culty vibes until the end of the episode. I picked up a lot more what I've said before. I picked up more Magneto vibes from him up until now. But yeah, the last part of the episode is when I kind of felt like he was getting kind of Koreshi. I thought that the whole thing where he was telling the story and he kind of gave her a kiss and stuff like that was more of a recruitment tactic for him more than anything else. Lita has every reason to join in with this group. Nobody should be shocked that Lita's ended up joining in with them because she's never been really loyal to Psychor, ever. And she was forced by Bester into donning the Psychor uniform again. And she was just looking for any reason to abandon it. And I think Byron gave her that reason. Byron gave her that outlet, be like, you know what? She is stuck in this prison, this Psychor prison of Bester basically threatening her to don the badge again, pretty much against her own will. So the fact that he gave her a reason to abandon that and come into their fold, to me is a non-shocker. I think that it was the first chance that she had to escape him.
Nicole?
I worry about Lita because she has been kind of used and abused, and I just know that she probably might not. I felt like he was like love bombing her a little bit, right? And I feel like that could maybe put on blinders for her when he kissed her and all that. But then I also thought, how many other people in his group is he doing that to? How many more people is he kissing? How many more people is he love bombing? How many more people is he caressing their hair? And like, you know what I mean? Like, it just felt very
contrived.
Yeah, I just didn't like that. So I'm not surprised she joined because she's not on board with Psychor, but I just worry. Like, I'm very protective over her and I just worry about her and I don't want them to like use her like everybody else did.
She definitely seems like she's fallen into that everything's going to be great, you know, and she's very trusting and I worry about her judgment sometimes.
I agree, but I'm so glad, Justin, you brought up that Lita was treated like this to get to this point. No one gave her any support. No one gave her any help. Even Zach, who was trying to hit on her before she turned into a demon, even Zach, who was trying to hit on her, was still like kind of standoffish. So, of course, the first person who plays with her hair and talks nice to her and shows her there's a different way.
Actually treats her like a decent human being.
Exactly. It shows a little bit of humanity. She's going to run to them. And I don't think that's a negative character trait. That's just somebody looking to not be lonely. And which is probably how he got most of his people to be with him. Same idea. Nicole?
She doesn't want to be lonely, and she doesn't deserve to be lonely. She should have someone that cares for her. I just don't know if Byron is the one who's legit and truly caring. Since we're talking about the telepaths and all that, it was interesting to me that she was pleading with him not to turn himself in to Bester and them, right? Because he was saying, I got to be with my people. So I was assuming he was going to turn himself in or let them catch him. And she was, pleading with him and begging him not to do it. And he says goodbye and all that. And that whole thing, they didn't need to beat him up and punch him in the face, even though I think he's Koreshi. He didn't deserve to get his ass kicked. I can't be the only one when Lita came around the corner and saw security talking to the bloodhounds. When Bester gave her that smirk, I was like, you son of a bitch. I was so, what a dick. What a dick move. And then Zach just kind of looked at her like, sorry, I can't do anything. I have to follow orders. That whole scene, there wasn't any words spoken, but man, you can feel that scene. You could cut that with a knife, I thought. And I thought that was very well played.
Justin.
Is this the point, Scott, where you want to have the Magneto versus Byron versus Bester discussion?
Do tell, sir, because I find it interesting. I don't disagree with you at all on what you said, but I find it interesting that we were talking about how Bester kind of fits that model, but now you've got another character who's just popped up, and now they're interacting. So I'm curious your thoughts on that.
Bester was, God, he was such a creep in this episode, man. Every time he would look at Lita, just that smile he would give her. Like the one time when he was in the security area and she walked in, and you saw two very interesting perspectives from Lita in this. She walks in and she looks at Bester, and he just looks at her with that cheesy shit-eating grin on his face. And to me, that kind of reminded me of Ian McKellen's Magneto to a degree. And honestly, she looked at him with total and utter contempt. But then she looks at Zach, and she honestly looked hurt by Zach talking to Bester. She looked at him with hatred, and then she looked at Zach, and you just saw pain on her face. And that's when she turned and walked away. Byron is very much an X-Men 97, and to a degree, the way Michael Fassbender played Magneto. The way that they were very just almost reaching out and trying to bring people in. Even in X-Men 97, just how Magneto's portrayed in that versus how Byron's portrayed in Babylon 5 is very kind of similar, in my opinion.
Nicole.
So I had a thought, or maybe a question to my other newbie friends here, because obviously, Scott, you and Mike and Kevin don't know the answer. But do we think that Lita's stronger than Bester, and that's why he doesn't like her? She might be. I feel like she can totally fucking end him if she wanted to.
I think deep down he's afraid of her.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
I get the feeling he's afraid of her because he doesn't actually know what her full powers are. It's more of the unknown fear, how much power does she really have? How much was left by Vorlon? And I'm not sure if she even knows how strong she can be, but it did seem like it was taking a lot out of her. And I'm worried that because she showed that, Bester now has a way to try to take advantage of it.
He was audibly discussing her powers. So
Exactly.
I think he gave you a little bit of a window into that because he was clearly okay, so this is this and this is this.
Yeah.
I think he's trying to test her.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't know.
He wants her to try to beat everyone's ass. Like the little, telekinetic slaps that she was doing on people. He is fascinated by Lita because he wants to find out exactly what she can do.
Yeah.
And he is afraid of her at the same time. He probably honestly believes if she can give a one thought, she could probably drop him dead right on the spot.
Yeah.
But he wants to push her to that point because he wants to find out exactly what she can do. and how powerful she is. So this is all just a mind game from Bester because he's obsessed with Lita, I think.
So to follow up that point, do we feel like Bester would probably never kill Lita or like hurt her because he wants to maybe pick her brain and see what powers she has and how she got them, so maybe he can learn how to develop them?
I honestly think he wants to see the full range of her powers, if only to not, he's not a stupid man. He knows that she will never be on his side. But if I were Bester, I would be pushing her to find out her full abilities, and then I would be dissecting her to try and figure out what the Vorlons did to her so that he can do that to other telepaths and gain that much more power.
Bester may not follow contracts because it's Bester, but he has a contract with Lita that says he gets to have her body when she's dead, and that the contract is null and void if she dies of anything other than natural causes. So on paper, he can't kill her, but he wants her to die.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
That's why she had the Psy-Corps badge back.
But that's honestly something that he can set up very easily.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like I said, I don't think Bester cares about contracts, but
yeah,
he has a contract. Like selling your soul to the devil. Kevin?
So Lita is in a position where she either hasn't gotten any help from anyone or hasn't gone to them for help, but either way, probably feels kind of helpless. And she clearly has a ton of ability to affect the situation in a couple of different ways, but is deciding not to take them. And my question is just this: why doesn't she just give Bester an aneurysm and kill the guy? Because I don't know, in my view, it would be a public service. You can't be pushed to this kind of level. I guess that's my question. She could clearly do it. She could probably get away with it. Why? It just seems like she's not doing enough at this stage for the character, and I feel like she would do something at this stage. So what's up with that?
Jessi?
I would have let, as Wish.com Ivanova, what's her name again?
Lockley.
I can't. Listen, I can't, and I'm not gonna until the end of the season. I'm trying. Fuck off. Lockley, leave me alone.
She's making baby steps, guys. She said she liked her.
I did say
now
I
she
like
just
her.
got to remember her name. We're moving in the right direction.
Right, we're making progress in the right direction. As Lockley, I'd have let him beat his ass. And listen, I understand that she's got a job to do and she has protocol to follow, but I'd have just turned my back and been like, oops, I didn't see it. I'd have let him beat his ass. Now, do I think that Bester would have let him beat his ass? No, I do not. But I think I would have let him try.
Mike?
Back to Kevin's original kind of question is, why doesn't Lita just kill Bester? And I think I'm a little bit of two minds about it, because Lita has demonstrated that she has a little bit of a rebellious streak in the fact of, like, you know, just going gung-ho and blowing up Zahadum without asking anybody or getting any permission. So that does kind of lead you to that loose cannon vibe from her, where I certainly think it's within her capacity to have killed Bester, to have taken matters into her own hands. But I also think that at the end of the day, the answer to that is that Lita is meant to be a good person. She's not a cold-hearted killer. And even though I think we all agree that it would be ultimately for the universe's best interests if Bester ceased to exist, that doesn't mean that you're willing to become the monster yourself. That's what Londo's good for.
Well, I think there's a big difference. And I'm not saying you're saying it's the same thing, but there's a huge difference between, Londo level stuff and one death of somebody that is nothing but bad news for everyone he meets. The only thing that would, be terrible is that it would take Walter Koenig out of the series at this point, which I'm not for, but it just feels like she should be doing more than she's doing. And that seems like an obvious avenue for her to affect a huge change. But I was debating this even with myself, thinking, well, would that really make things better? Would Psy-Corps show up in droves if she did that? I have no idea how to predict that.
Yeah, see, I don't ever see her or many characters as that simplistic. I don't see them as, hey, I can just take this guy off the board. They're humans. She doesn't want to kill somebody. She's never, that we've seen, killed anybody. So, and there's many, maybe Garibaldi would want to kill him, but there's hardly anyone on there. Even Franklin joked about it in season 1. Well, maybe we can kill him. But you're saying that let's just take him off the board. There's not many people that don't have any kind of shred of humanity who's willing to just take somebody out. And they're usually hired assassins. Jessi's ready to go. She's got her hand up. She will take one for the team, and she'll probably enjoy it and roast the body on a spit afterwards.
I agree with Mike. I think she's shown us flashes that she could consider that to be acceptable at some point to me.
Yeah, I don't know. I think if she was pushed hard enough, directly enough, maybe. I think anybody could do that.
Well, yeah, and at that
I don't think
point,
Lita's that person yet.
Yeah, and at that point, though, there's a complete difference. That's a reaction. That's a protective reaction of yourself or somebody else. So if, like, he pulls a gun to somebody's head and she can pop a blood vessel and take him out, yeah. But we're talking about cold-blooded murder.
Well, it would be a protective action for, I don't know, how many telepaths are there? Probably, 20 or 30, would you guess?
Yeah.
50 or less.
But they got out of the situation without having to kill anybody.
I get that. But it seemed pretty desperate at that point.
Well, you and Jessi can go murder people. We're going to stay on Happy Island.
Okay.
Nicole, what island would you like to be on?
Well, Mike mentioned Londo being a monster, so do we want to talk about the Londo G'Kar dynamic here, or do we still want to continue talking about Bester?
I like the transition.
I love the fact that G'Kar is going to be Londo's bodyguard, and I love that the end of the episode they were fighting over the aisle seat. I was cracking up. They were so funny. Like, it was only a snippet, but my God, they had me laughing hysterically. But also, assassination attempt on Londo. Like, we didn't even talk about that yet. So was it the Centauri that were trying to assassinate him? So essentially, the ship was coming. They were supposed to pick Londo up, and then when they went back, it would explode, so Londo would die, right? So I want to know who fucking set that in motion, because damn, that's cold if your own people are trying to assassinate you.
Maybe it was Lord Reefa's corpse.
Yeah.
I'm not dead yet.
It's one of his heads.
What we saw, Nicole, was what was supposed to happen. As soon as the ship opened that jump point, it was supposed to go boom. Jessi.
So you guys know that I love Londo and G'Kar as much as the next one, and I love to see them together, and I love the chemistry that they have. But listen, when I say again, I've said this a couple times, G'Kar is a bigger person than I am, because I'm going to tell you right now, I would not do security detail for him. Or I would, and I would let him die.
See, we already discussed you're on that island.
I am. Listen, you know what? It is what it is, because I know that you guys love the feel-good things that are going on with Londo and G'Kar, but my brain says, you murdered my whole family. And probably everybody that I know. And I cannot, as much as, a fun-loving character as you are, I can't get over it. I hold grudges, and I'm a fucking spiteful bastard. I will let Jesus figure it out when I get to wherever I'm going. And I know that some people are not going to agree with me, and that's fine. But it's like, fuck off, sir. Die a terrible death.
Exactly. I'm with you on that one.
Me too.
Justin.
Jessi has accused me more of once of being too forgiving of people and giving people 17 chances and everything like that. But honestly, it reminds me of a story that my uncle once told me of this guy in his school would just bully him incessantly every day, just torment him, beat him up, stuff like that, until finally the one day where he stood up and punched him back in the face. And until my uncle died, he was his best friend. And to me, that just shows kind of how the relationship of Londo and G'Kar could actually manifest organically as, yes, all the horrible, I'm not going to defend Londo and everything he's done, because he's done some horrible freaking things. But at the same time, the fact that G'Kar has grown enough as an individual and has become, he has changed over the course of these 5 seasons from being a mustache twirling villain that we've described him as, to being an honest to goodness, good heart and soul, that he is willing to maybe even not forgive, because I really don't think G'Kar has forgiven Londo for everything, but he is willing to try to build something better out of the ashes of everything else that was created, that he is willing to try to make a friend out of someone who was his mortal enemy. Not too long ago, we saw them actively trying to fucking kill each other. And now that, G'Kar is willing to move beyond that point and be like, you know what? Instead of trying to kill him, I will protect him with my own life, just says to me, not just because really we can go on for an entire episode on how much, if anything, Londo has changed. But I think the focus point of what I want to say is to show how much G'Kar has changed over the past few seasons, to where he has become an honest to goodness good person.
Nicole?
All right. So I definitely agree with you, Justin, on a lot of those points. Obviously, we all know that I'm the group softie, the positive person, the silver lining girl, the I love girl. Obviously, I'm a trope. I get it. But here's the thing. And this is why I feel like I relate to G'Kar, or I understand G'Kar in a way in this situation, because not to get too deep, but I have faced death multiple times. Like, didn't know if I was going to live, right? I used to be I kept score. I held grudges. I was really vengeful. I was like, I'll end that bitch. Like, that was me years ago. Like, I was very, very much like that. After multiple potential times where I didn't make it, it changes something in you mentally. Not to be too woo-woo, but like, I feel like as I've gotten older and I faced these experiences where I could have been taken out, to me, it wasn't worth it to hold on to all that anger and to hold on to that anymore. Not saying that listen, it is fun to be petty and it is fun to talk shit. And sometimes you got to hold a grudge, right? But
girl, shade.
Yeah.
Shade is wonderful sometimes.
Right.
Yes.
But like, also, like, as I've gotten older and I've gone through more and I've like faced these traumatic events in my life medically, like, it's just not worth it to me. It's not worth holding on to that. And it's not worth living shrouded in that anger and that negativity. So I can see what you mean, Justin, about G'Kar, because like, he faced death. I mean, he was being tortured by Rifa and toyed with. All these traumatic, horrible things have happened to him. And he is very much like me, where he can take a piece of shit and make it shiny and gold.
Jessi.
So what we've learned today is that Nicole's a better person than I am, because
no. I will still cut a bitch if I have to. Don't get me wrong.
Listen, it's because I haven't had enough near-death experiences in my life. I hold grudges. I don't want to be the bigger person. Like, I have to be the bigger person 99% of the time, right? Like, because of what I do for a living, I'm the bigger person almost always. But when I'm telling you, you've murdered my whole family, I don't know if there's enough bigger person in the world for me to be that person. So I love that Nicole is so much better than me.
I'm not. I don't have a job where I have to be the bigger person. I could be a petty bitch. I work in radio, so.
Well, I mean, we do a little petty shit too. I'm a little passive aggressive, but like, I just, my brain does not let go of the fact that of all the stuff that happened to him.
And just to let you know too, Jessi, like, for me, it's more of like a coping mechanism. Like, if I don't try to find positivity and have dark humor, I would fall apart, because there is too much bad shit that has happened to me that if I didn't find some way to pull myself out of it, I wouldn't survive. So
Agreed.
I'm not a better person than you. I just have a different coping mechanism.
Just different life experiences.
Yes, exactly. And not enough wine.
Better.
Yeah.
Emily.
It is interesting to see the evolution of G'Kar and how he seems, I don't know, zen about it. The hard thing for me is for people who can forgive people who have like committed atrocities against them and are able to move past. Like, I think that's great for them if that's what they need to like move on in their life. I think is absolutely fantastic. What I don't like is those people being used to like manipulate other people who can't do it. Like, well, that happened to this person and they got past it, so why can't you? And I feel like the Londo and G'Kar thing is an example of how that could be done. Like, oh, but look, they're cool now. And how much of that was Londo or G'Kar essentially being coerced through different methods of, you're on Babylon 5 and you have to try to get along because we're supposed to be like this in-between mediator of everybody's shit kind of thing. And, we're not supposed to do aggressive politics and whatever on the station. Because that, when they were first pulling their shit in like season 1, that was one of the things that came up. Like, and I think how G'Kar has evolved is great. It's just one of those things where I'm like, I'm kind of uncomfortable with that, because I know that shit'll be used to make people who can't do that feel like shit about themselves.
Justin.
You all might be shocked to find out I'm a big believer in redemption. And it's just a personal thing in my life to where I'm a big believer in second chances, and people should be given the chance to redeem themselves in society and stuff like that. And I'm not going to lie, I've been someone who have made many mistakes in my life, and I've been given the grace of people who have given me second chances. And to me, I really want to believe that deep down, Londo does have a lot of remorse for what he's done. Does it excuse it? No. Does it justify it? No. Should he be held accountable? Yes. But the fact that people are willing to give him a second chance, and the fact that people are willing to give him the chance to redeem himself, to me speaks volumes about G'Kar and Delenn and other people on the station, to where they are willing to give him an opportunity to redeem himself. And to me, that is something that I have benefited from in my life. I really hope that Londo can really see the true error of his ways and, maybe come out better at the end. Who knows?
All right. On that note, we'll go ahead and end the conversation on strange relations there and move on to our questions and predictions for those of you who haven't been with us before. Our newbies have not watched past this episode, so we're going to ask if they have any lingering questions or any predictions of what may happen next. Nicole broke the fucking rules like 15 times, so I've already got her list of questions and predictions because she can't freaking wait.
Sorry.
So Nicole, I already have, is Lita a stronger telepath than Bester? Who tried to kill Londo? And your prediction of this is the start of a beautiful friendship between Garibaldi and Lockley. So Nicole, do you have any other questions and predictions that you'd like to throw out now when it's supposed to be thrown out?
Sorry, Justin does it too. Don't yell at me, okay?
Not this time, but he does.
No, I would say obviously what's going to happen in 60 days with the rogue telepaths is my big question. Is that going to escalate? And what's next for them? And what's next for everyone on Babylon 5 was caught up in that. And that was really my only other question.
Justin, questions, predictions.
Nicole covered it all. I'm good.
Sorry.
That's like a first. He usually has the binder. He opens it up like the holy book and says, let me begin.
No, Nicole pretty much had everything I written down, so I'm good.
Which, by the way, since you did the religious chant there, the one thing we didn't bring up is JMS wrote that song because...
Why does he write the creepiest songs?
That's the second one.
He doesn't have to pay licenses that way. He writes them, so he doesn't have to pay them.
Okay, so JMS, if you're listening, I love you, bro, but the first song was shit, and the second song was shit.
That was
Stop
his
writing
intention.
songs.
That was his intention. Yeah. What he said, I'll just throw it out there because I brought it up. He said, no, I came up with the song for the episode and designed it to sound like any of the zillion other songs that out there that sound very familiar. So he meant it to be like a religious culty song, which is understandable since JMS was part of a cult. Read his book.
How can I commission JMS to write a song for me is the question.
You tweet at him and see what happens, Nicole.
Yeah. See how fast he blocks me.
Enjoy. Jessi, questions, predictions.
Yes. Okay. Do we ever find out whose pink panties were in G'Kar's room?
Oh.
I don't have answers, and that is
right.
I'm going to say this, and it's going to mean nothing to you. It was the universe's panties.
I don't
know
what that means. It's season 5, and we're 6 episodes in, and I still don't know whose pink panties they were. I had the same question as Nicole about what happens in 60 days with the telepaths. Since they can't leave, I want to know why did she even do it? If they can't leave, I don't know. I feel like if she was going to let him leave, that would be one thing. But she said, I agreed you couldn't leave. Now you have to agree to the same.
Hey, she's jumped out of the building. Now she's got 2 more seconds to figure out what's next.
Okay.
That's what she said. I'm using her example.
Does Lita and let me grammatically correct myself.
Thank you for
Lita
that.
and Koresh have telepath babies? And Londo, why not just say no to being the emperor? If he goes through all that stuff about how bad it's going to be and how it's not going to be a good thing, why not just say no? Okay. And my predictions, Lockley and Garibaldi, they get it in, just in case everybody didn't realize what I was saying. Moving on.
Did you really just say they get it in?
They get it in.
I have a prediction I forgot.
Oh, of course you do, Nicole. Please.
Sorry.
Damn it.
I have a bad feeling that something is going to happen to Franklin, and I'm not happy about it. I just have a gut feeling that something bad is going to happen to him. And I don't want it to be true, but I don't know. I worry about my little Franklin.
Alien herpes.
Exactly.
The itch that don't quit.
What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, except alien herpes. Moving on.
So, does Byron die? Does Byron actually become a martyr?
That's a good fucking question.
He becomes.
He becomes all over the place.
He became.
He became.
The walls down and down below look like a Jackson Pollock painting.
They look like a Byron painting, actually.
But anyway, no, honestly, seriously, like Zach made the comment of him being a martyr. Does Byron end up being martyred? Done.
Emily, Jessi, were you done?
No. Yes, I'm done.
You done?
You done?
You guys, they hate us so much right now.
One of these Sundays, I'll go to bed before 11 o'clock. One of these Sundays.
Honestly, seeing Scott do the Blake and just be like sitting there holding his head as we're fucking talking,
Hey,
like
I didn't have a
There
poker
is
face.
a certain kind of joy we get from that. That's really disturbing, honestly.
he's like, Jesus Christ, they're still fucking talking.
I
Come
just
on.
want to go play video games.
It's like listening to Smut while buying groceries.
That needs to be a bonus for the Patreon group because they're not going to hear that part. Tell them all about it, Emily. Okay, Emily, questions, predictions.
I mean, there's lots of questions, but they're not necessarily related to this episode.
And they're not necessary at all.
Yeah, basically. I do actually have one question. What are they doing with the little frozen telepaths, the little sci-pops?
The popsicles.
Like, are they going to be used against the telepaths on B5 since they can, connect with machines and shit? Are they going to become like little attack popsicles?
Like RoboCop popsicles?
Yeah, that's my question.
Robo-telepath popsicles.
Have any idea what happened to them?
Hey, was there anything else?
They got turned back over to Earth.
Yeah.
At the end of season 4.
Oh,
Yes.
man.
Yeah.
They're back on Earth, but we don't know what Earth is doing with them. So are they going to be used to fight the other telepaths?
Okay.
Because they keep talking about a telepath war, so telepaths fighting each other. Fuck, I don't know. And yeah, I think that's it because I am not a fan of this season. Okay, and what the fuck is going on with Sheridan being a sleazy politician with the entire wardrobe and like the facial hair and the slick back hair? Seriously, he just looks like a.
Oh, come on. He's 90s daddy.
I think he looks cute.
That's definitely the 90s look.
Yeah, it definitely is.
No, he absolutely looks like a corrupt politician taking bribes.
Yes, I think he looks like a douche.
Hence a 90s politician.
He should be in a Miami Vice outfit with that look. I'm just saying.
With those collars, he kind of isn't he? It's the same shirt
True.
that every civilian male wears on Babylon 5. They have one shirt and they all wear it.
But does that end? Does that
Does he
whole
stop wearing that shirt? No.
does that terrible styling end of looking like a corrupt politician who takes bribes?
Hey, speaking of that shirt, I have a question. Is anybody ever going to stop Corwin from bogarting somebody's fries?
She was ready to rip his freaking fingers off, wasn't
Maybe
she?
stabbed with a fork.
Like,
That
what the
was
fuck,
funny.
man? I've only worked here like a week.
Don't
Fight
mess
him.
with Lockley, man.
You're eating off my plate.
Bite him. That's a solution. Just
Don't
bite him.
eat her fries and
Bite him.
don't eat her chicken wings.
But Corwin also has survived since the first episode, so you wonder, what does he know? What does he
Ooh.
know?
Good point.
How many dirty pictures does he know hanging up in Babylon 5?
He's a survivor.
How many of them are his?
Oh, they're
There you go.
100% his. That
Nice.
guy fucks. That guy fucks.
Corwin fucks.
Wow. Speaking of fucks, can we just say that we didn't have to see somebody in bed this episode?
I knew it
Loved
was going to
it.
come up.
Oh, Lord, this again.
You knew it
I
was
didn't
going to
think
come
about
up,
it.
huh, Mike?
Ah.
Get it.
Joshua Cox, if you're listening, we want to truly know if Corwin does fuck. Come on the show.
Yeah, come
I
and
know
tell
you're-
us.
Maybe you're listening. I don't know. Okay, go ahead, Kevin.
Somebody brought up on Lurkers that Sheridan's wives mirror the Minbari caste system. Lockley's the warrior and worker, and Delenn is religious caste. And I think that's really interesting.
Damn.
Someone had way too much fucking time on their hands.
Yeah, I never would have come up with that shit on my own.
That's good.
Okay, but fucker's got a point.
Yeah.
I
For
thought
sure.
I'm sorry, Justin. I swear to God, you said butt fuckers got
The fucker.
No, but no. Okay, I did say butt fuckers.
You
but
did.
I said, but fuckers got a point.
I was just dumbfounded when you said that. I'm like, what the fuck?
Scott hates us all right now so
Show
much.
me your butthole.
There was a pause.
We're just giving out nicknames to people now, huh?
This is the quality you
At least I'm not
expect
the only
from our
one at
podcast.
this point.
Hey, we've had some great conversation tonight and some fuckery, so it's a win-win.
All right.
What's our word for tonight?
I don't know. What is it? Butt
Epstein?
fuckery?
Butt fuckers.
No, Corwin fucks. That's our word for tonight.
Corwin fucks.
Corwin.
Corwin fucks.
We're
yeah,
gonna
but
get
again,
ourselves banned from
You can't put
YouTube,
fuck
so.
in the comment section on YouTube. It doesn't
Okay.
work.
Well, I want to know. I want Ryan to weigh in on this on our comments. Does Corwin
Mothman.
fuck?
Oh.
Oh, how about Epstein didn't hang himself? Moving on.
Oh, God, now we're gonna get
my God.
that will get us some hits on YouTube. Our views will skyrocket. How
For
about
all
this?
the wrong reasons.
Your phrase of the day, if you've gotten through the entire podcast, and if you have, you're a sick motherfucker, is Corwin Boffs. How about that?
Boss.
Corwin boffs.
Corwin
Like it.
Boffs. Okay.
Okay.
We'll go ahead and thankfully kick our newbies out at this point until next week. And next week we will be
Yes,
back.
and you love us.
Uh-huh. There's only 18 episodes left.
You're gonna miss us when it's over.
Yeah, you are.
That's not even right. No, there's only 16 episodes left. Yeah,
You're
no.
gonna miss me when I'm gone.
We'll be back next week to discuss Secrets of the Soul.
Hmm.
Thank you, Jessi.
Sounds like a winner.
Yay.
If it's not Soul Hunter, I'm out.
Buttholes.
There may be some buttholes. We'll see. There's actually a sex scene in the next episode.
No.
What?
Oh,
100%.
girl.
Listen, if it is Sheridan and fucking DeLynn, I'm quitting.
Man,
I'm fucking done.
No, it needs to be Garibaldi and Lockley on her desk.
It's Londo and G'Kar.
It's gonna be the car.
Let me read what JMS read about the script real quick.
Oh, I can't wait.
He said, I talked to both actors involved, made sure they were okay with it, and then scripted it out in a very detailed form and shot with a closed set,
No.
just necessary crew, nobody else. And he says, funny item, in the script, I'm right in the middle of describing the sex scene. And in the narrative description, I write, without even thinking about it, and he quotes, I wonder which is more embarrassing, reading this or writing it. The script went out with that in it.
Damn.
It's Londo.
I can't wait to see it. I can't
It's
wait.
Londo and G'Kar. There you go.
They're on a.
You get to see the
The
rope
sticks.
come back.
Yeah.
Londo's
their
has the pink
transport-
panties on.
Their transport to Centauri Prime breaks down.
It's cold. They need to keep each other warm.
Oh, good
Wait,
God.
But yes,
It better not be fucking Lita and Byron. That's all I'm
No,
saying.
no. I don't
So
want
check in next week, fans, where we go
When-
over Babylon 5 pornogaphy. Stay
It's
tuned.
Lita and Byron. Hands
No,
down.
no,
Check in
especially
next
when
week when
that
we
Valley
see
Vegas,
that
Lita and
character
Byron,
is
Jessi.
cool.
Oh, Jesus, everyone's talking. Justin, you were
Pass.
talking. Pass.
Pass.
It's definitely Lita and Byron. It's Lita and
Ugh.
Koresh.
Everyone is embarrassed by what they were trying to say.
Yes.
Oh, I'm not.
No.
Ironically, the scene that the episode that has a sex scene is the lowest rated episode on Lurker's Guide for this season. So
Oh God, it's gonna be a
Oh,
really awkward
God.
sex scene, isn't it? And we're all gonna cringe.
bring on next week, guys. It's gonna be great.
It's
I might have to
Sheridan
watch
and
it
fucking
tonight. I
DeLynn.
need to know.
Nicole needs
No,
some
it is.
sexy time tonight.
Yeah.
I'll have a cream pie for next week.
What, Justin? I'm sorry,
Wait,
I didn't
what?
quite hear you.
Yes, you did.
Please say that again
Yeah, you
for,
did.
for the audio.
Yeah, you did.
I did not hear it. What did he say?
Jesus.
Something about a pie made
He
of
said he'd have a
I'll bring you
cream
cream-
pie next.
such as
I'll
my
bring you
God,
cream pie next
Justin.
week.
Justin. Oh, and by the way, I'm 100% tweeting JMS and asking him to write me a song.
Oh.
See if we can make him
and
block
this
you
is-
too.
This is the reason why JMS will never appear on this show.
No shit.
There's many fucking reasons why JMS.
Reason 247 why JMS
That
will
is
never
number
appear on
1
this
through
show.
200.
So Joshua,
I feel like we're just 1 through 8 individually, or 1 through.
come on, you gotta go
Okay,
with
I
the
need
theme.
to
We're
go.
1 through 17.
I'm
Okay.
done with you guys. Moving on.
Can I
Newbies.
drop a Friends reference? I want to go! I'm just kidding.
God damn
Let my people go.
Wait, we got to do our outro. Shouldn't we do that?
Oh, we didn't do
I
that
don't even
yet?
care anymore.
God damn. Until next
Mike.
week when we see people boff. I've been Scott, and with me has been.
Justin.
Emily.
Nicole.
Mike.
Evan.
Justin, Emily, Nicole, Mike, Kevin, and Jessi.
And I'm Blake.
Blake and Scott.
It's just Blake holding. It's like I'm fucking Blake.
No shit. Blake is doing that without even listening.
We
to
miss
us.
you, Blake. Come back soon, please. Save me.
He's gonna be like, thank God I missed that shit.
Aye. Be gone, newbies.
All right.
All right. Bye.
Out, bitches.
I'll
Bye.
call you all at 5 a.m. tomorrow.
No, you will not.
Don't.
Oh my God, get out.
Thank you for listening to Grey 17, a Babylon 5 podcast. You can find all the places to listen to and watch this podcast at anchor.fm/Grey17podcast or youtube.com @Grey17podcast. We want to hear from you, so join the conversation at Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, or Patreon. Be sure to subscribe and leave a review where you are listening to or watching this podcast. Grey 17 is not affiliated with, and the podcast has not been prepared, approved, or licensed by Warner Brothers or any other owners of the Babylon 5 copyright. All clips included in this podcast are the intellectual property of the respective copyright holders. They are included here for purpose of review, and no infringement is intended. The opening and closing themes are available from Falling Matter on YouTube.
And what's out there?
The rim,
And beyond that?
the truth.
Welcome back to Beyond the Rim. This is a section for spoilers, so if you have not watched past Strange Relations, go ahead and drop off now, and we won't be spoiled. If not, we'll keep rolling here. So guys, the first question from our, oh God, from our newbies, I don't know what to say about them tonight. Is Lita a stronger telepath than Bester?
Yes.
Yeah, a lot. She's upgraded. We don't know how much she's upgraded, but the fact that she can fight off him and several bloodhounds and hide other telepaths says that she at least has some skills that are above a psychop. How far we don't know.
Well, what did she start off as? Like a 5? Or
Yeah, she was a P5.
P5, same as what's her name?
Standard commerce, of Talia. Standard commerce telepath or whatever you want to call them. She ain't that no more.
Nope.
Do Lita and Koresh have telepath babies?
Well, the prediction that they're the ones boffing in the next episode is correct, but do they have children? No. He is not around long enough.
No, he doesn't. He gets boffed in another way, that's for sure. To that point, what will happen with the rogue telepaths? Will things escalate? Does Byron become a martyr?
Justin, you're cheating. I'm just kidding.
We haven't said that in a while. I'm pretty sure all of those were actually Nicole's this time. Well, maybe not the martyr part.
No, the martyr part was definitely Justin, and wow, he nailed that.
Well, I mean, but Kevin, Zach, absolutely said it on the episode.
Yeah,
the guy's a martyr. So, I mean, he called it out. But yeah, Byron will, starting next week, try to force the Alliance to give him a planet. And that goes as well as you think it will. And shit will escalate. And as we've already seen in the episode Deconstruction of Falling Stars, they will take hostages. They will attack the station from the inside. And Byron's going to get himself offed, which is not a loss for many. Moving over to the Londo and G'Kar front, who tried to kill Londo?
Do we ever find out?
Yeah, I don't think so.
I think it's assumed it's a rival faction.
Yeah.
You know, one of the newbies, I can't remember who, said it was maybe the Narn who did it, but the Narn don't care at this point. The Narn are just rebuilding. They're done with that fight, mainly because G'Kar is starting his own little peace process internally. But as Londo knows all too well, there's a lot of factions. And he even mentioned that the former Emperor Malari didn't actually, end very well. So he's used to people trying to off the Emperor. And so that's what happened. Which goes into our next question. Why doesn't Londo just say no to being the Emperor?
Yeah, that's just not who Londo is.
I also don't think it's who the Centauri are.
Yeah.
In Londo, we've had this conversation several times, but Londo, even back in the Gathering, said that his ultimate mission is to bring the Centauri people back into power. And he still sees him as the best opportunity to do that. So why would he, even if he hates the idea, he knows it's going to go badly for him. This is his one opportunity to take the reins and guide the ship. And so I think he wouldn't turn it down even if he could. But if I remember right, I can't remember the episode, but I'm pretty sure it was mentioned sometime during the series that you don't get the choice. when you're picked as emperor, you're picked as emperor. You
Yeah.
just do it.
I have a question, Scott. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just wondering, does he want the Centauri to be powerful, or does he want them to be influential, or both?
I see it as the same thing. I mean, I'm not
Okay.
I'm not thinking that he wants them to be like the great power of the galaxy, but you know, I always go back to that speech he gives Garibaldi in The Gathering and saying that we've become a tourist attraction and we used to, you know, be one of the great powers of the galaxy. I think he just wants to get them to not be a joke.
Yeah. Yeah. I think he's past the point at this point in the series where he wants to lord things over others and wants to colonize the entire universe. But you're right, he doesn't want them to be a joke. He wants them to be very influential, well thought of, and he wants to be at the top of that. So he's not going to turn down being emperor, even though it's going to be less fun and a humongous change for him. He's not going to turn.
No, and I think along those same lines, I think Londo, one of his arcs in this show, to your point, is he isn't looking to be vindictive, and part of that is because his friendship with G'Kar has kind of taught him otherwise. But I also see that that's one of the reasons why he was one of the first ones to sign on to the Alliance, was again getting the Centauri in a place where they can be a mover and shaker again.
Right.
So, and obviously he also signed on because his friends were doing it as well, and he's become part of a family there. But still, I think it's really strategic that he did that as well.
It is strategic because it gives the Centauri some cover for their previous missteps, we'll call them.
Which G'Kar called him out on 2 episodes ago.
Yeah, I mean, strange relations indeed with the two of them, for sure. I mean, it isn't just all the other stuff. It's certainly the two of them being in a weird place. I mean, if JMS had really not wanted that dynamic, he could have just brought in Talon from earlier, but he clearly wanted that dynamic, and well, thank goodness, because it's one of the best things in the series.
Speaking of strange relations, Mike, go for it, please.
I was say I actually thought of Talon myself when that all went down, because the only thing about it that I don't necessarily like feels like it almost diminishes G'Kar's alliance. You're being told you're the bodyguard for the other guy who is supposed to be sitting next to you at the table. It seems very odd.
Well, I think Delenn laid that out really well. You know, she said that the Centauri are key to this, and Londo is key to the Centauri. Otherwise, we may lose them entirely. So he couldn't be more important for keeping them in the alliance, and is incredibly important to keeping the alliance together and having a ton of influence itself.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I get the strategic need to put somebody there, protect Londo so nothing happens to him. But at the same time, like I said, I just feel like I would have to wonder what the optics from the rest of the galaxy look like, you know? Like, granted, the Narn aren't like this powerhouse civilization anymore. They basically bombed back into the Stone Age trying to recover, so it's not like they can contribute a hell of a lot to any large aid process or whatever. But again, just the fact that, Earth, Minbari, Narn, and Centauri, they're kind of like the big four that are sitting around the table. And then you're, well, this one is actually supposed to also be sitting at the table, but he's also supposed to lay down his life to protect Londo. I don't know. It feels weird. I have no other point other than I just think that it's strange. It's a convenient excuse to put those two characters together so we can continue to have excellent scenes.
You're not wrong, Mike, and I remain glad that JMS made that decision. And you're not wrong. It is a little strange, but at the same time, I think that Andreas Katsulas really sold that with the amount of humor and humility that he displayed in that scene with Delenn. I thought that really summed it up really well.
Narratively, it doesn't really concern me too much because G'Kar isn't he's not the most actively engaged leader as he used to be. I mean, obviously he is doing a lot with society to help rebuild, especially with his book that he's already sharing, as we know of. But it's not like he's a leader of the Kari still, who is sitting there at Londo's back protecting him. He's moved past that position.
Yeah, no, I mean, I get all that, and I think they did a fairly good job of rational. And I guess maybe the implication is that the Narn aren't necessarily sitting at the head of the council table anymore.
I mean, really, aside from G'Kar, I don't think they are. I mean, we will see that, speaking of Talon, that he will step up and be the ambassador after G'Kar finally does leave at the end of the season. But I mean, to your point, Mike, they are no longer a power in the galaxy.
That raises the question of what, back to, I think we talked about this season, what really does grant one race, a seat at the big table instead of the kids' table?
I kind of always looked at it as like the UN Security Council with the veto power. And that is, you either won a war and you get to decide the factors, or you have enough bombs and or ships to make everyone else hurt. And so you get veto power.
I suppose if you have the money and the resources and the power to say, I'm sitting at this table, then,
pretty much, yeah.
Then that's how it works. I get it. And that does make sense. That makes sense back to G'Kar, in the episode starting off saying, I wish there was more that I could do. Because I guess the point where Constitution steps back, there's really not a whole lot else for him personally to do more.
Yeah.
So I guess, okay. I mean, you've kind of talked me around to it. I just still sits weird with me. But
kicking and screaming, but we got you there.
We'll continue.
Well, I think at this stage, really the only thing keeping the Narn relevant to the rest of the galaxy is G'Kar. He's really indispensable, and so his friends know how important he is. So, but if it was somebody else, I don't know that the Narn have quite that level of influence.
Well, this was a great conversation. Let's go to something more important than all of this, and that is those pink panties were in G'Kar's quarters back in season
we
1.
still on that.
And the answer is, we will never know. Whatever you want to believe, that is who the panties are. All right, last one for the questions. Because again, Emily's all about the callbacks. What are they doing with the frozen telepaths? Are they going to be a part of the problem?
I don't know that we ever hear about them again, do we?
I don't think so. I mean, we may get a mention of the Bester's girlfriend, I think. They don't show up here again. This is the conflict we will see is between Psychor and Byron's telepaths. That's it. Which has been my complaint a lot about how this show ends, is we get teased the telepath war for a very long time and we never get it, and the books don't count. So I know that we could have gotten in Crusade, maybe. We could have gotten another spinoff, maybe, but we just never got it. And so this is the conflict that we get. Byron. Prediction-wise, Garibaldi and Lockley are going to be fast friends.
I don't remember.
I don't remember. I mean, they still kind of are at odds with each other because that's just their characters. But I do think that they have a relationship that kind of starts here. No, they're not going to boff anybody, but I think they have an understanding.
Yeah,
once Lockley lets him out.
Garibaldi's in a committed relationship, and
with alcohol. It's coming up in a few episodes.
Well, that's a whole different thing, but he's in a committed relationship with Lise, and while that's going on, it would be a very it would hurt his character if that were to have happened. So I'm glad that it doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, the alcohol is coming, but that's a whole different thing.
Which I think also kind of takes the place of what this little story he's been on right now, his figuring out what Lockley's done or who she is. Well, we know that now. So now he's going to go on to a different story path, which is going to be a lot rougher for those who like Garibaldi. And finally, that was the same one. The other prediction was Garibaldi and Lockley will boff. No, they will not boff.
No,
okay.
Not so much.
Anything else you guys want to talk about with this episode?
No, sir.
No, thank you.
No, thank you. May I please not have another? Okay. We will go ahead and leave it there, and we will come back and talk all the spoilers after the newbies have watched the next episode, Secrets of the Soul. I think this is the episode that's going to finally kill me when it comes to Byron. So far, I haven't had a problem with him too much, but I just have a feeling that this episode's going to hurt. But let's find out next week.
The singing was weird. It was a little cringy.
It was cringy, but it was meant to be cringy. It was very culty, and it's fascinating to watch a cult story when we know that JMS was a part of a cult.
Yeah.
He lived in a commune. He dealt with a religious leader who used sex as a part of how he had power over people. All this is described in his autobiography, which you all should read. But it's fascinating to see how he writes a lot about his life in this show, especially now that he's kind of excised some of those demons through his book, that we get to know more about it.
For the record, I definitely was thinking whole telepath group had culty vibes before the singing.
Yeah, I do think, though, my point was when I asked that question of the newbies, I feel like JMS in the script decided, okay, next episode's going to get really, really that way, and I don't know if I have sold that enough yet. So in the last 10 minutes, Zach's going to sell it. The song's going to sell it. Lita's example is going to sell it. So he's just kind of beating you over the head with a stick that last 5-10 minutes of the episode saying, Byron is a problem. Get ready. And now we get to see it because he's going to want to plan it. It's going to be great. Okay, guys. Well, before we come back, please be sure to like, subscribe, follow, click all the buttons. Please also, if you can, join us on our social medias. And the one thing you can do that can help us the most is to leave those reviews, specifically on Apple. It really does help us get out to more people. We'd really appreciate it. And we'll be back next week. Until then, I've been Scott, and with me has been
Mike
and Kevin.
Thanks, everybody.
We will all come together in a better place.
Show me your butthole.
Skid up it up, butthole.
Show me your butthole.
And that is our outro.
I don't want to see anybody's butthole.